Hi, Suzanne. Nice to talk with you.
Hi everyone.
Hi. Thanks for being such a great supporter. I really appreciate it.
Been listening to you for a long time, Lisa.
Oh, you have. Thank you. That really means a lot to me, more than you know. Now we start all over and build this all over again if I can ever figure out my technology stuff. So what's going on? I know people always want questions and messages, and it's hard. I get hit up on with DMs, so many, and it's hard. When you send a text or a message, you lose the message, right? It's hard. So if you have any questions or messages, I'm more than happy to answer them for you and give you a quick message this way.
So I'm just wondering, I had a loved one pass away about 8 weeks ago, and I just want to know if they made it to where they're going.
They did. I want to put this on so I can hear you better. Hold on. Let me see. This will maybe, because your volume's super low. Let me see if this works for me. Yes, and that's a great question, and I'm really happy to me that. I'm sorry that you're. I know there's nothing worse than grief, and that is a true statement, and we can talk about grief. What is the person's first name who crossed over?
Donald.
Oh, I can hear you now. This is perfect, whatever you just did. Donald. Oh my gosh, he loves you so much. In your face, like he's talking about this part of your face right here. And he wants me to tell you he is so proud of you. And that he just looks and he just shakes his head and he thinks, how could he have been so lucky to know somebody like you? Was he your partner?
He's my daughter's dad, so yeah.
Okay, that's
in the beginning.
Yeah. So he's saying that he is so happy. He just loves your mouth. I'm like, okay, Donald, stop flirting right now. Loves your mouth so much. So proud of you, and we get this message. I feel like a broken record, and I get it all the time myself, but you are way too hard on yourself. And he's telling me to loosen up. He's showing me like horseback riding and loosening up the reins. I learned one thing horseback riding is not to hold on too tight, to kind of like let him just sit in your hands. And he's talking about loosening up your reins a little bit and just kind of going with the flow a little bit, because you've been holding on so tight that it's been hard to let yourself just be. And all you want to do is just be, and you just want to be in the flow, and you just want to relax. And in the meantime, you're just like, oh, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, because we're having a lot of issues with a certain somebody.
Okay, so whoever is that your daughter or somebody else? Oh, okay.
Somebody else.
He's telling me that you need to pick your battles, and you need to wait. Let me fix this. You need to pick your battles, and even if there's problems, you have to recognize. And this is a good message for all of us. I'm trying to get my camera right. This is a good message for all of us. You have to pick what's your battle and what's not your battle. And I know that sometimes we want to jump in and we want to rescue or save, or people are driving us crazy and they make their stuff our stuff. But he wants me to make sure to tell you that you need to pick your battles and make sure that you know what's yours and what's not yours. Because the wires are getting crossed, and if he were there, I feel like things would be very different, that he would be able, he was kind of like a force. He also wants to tell me when he crossed over, his death, that wasn't what everybody thinks it was. It was much, and they say this and it's hard for us, but much better in his words than we could have imagined. And that he doesn't want you to hang on to the end, hang on to the middle or the beginning, but we hang on to the end. So he's talking about that. Whatever person is giving you a hard time or there's problems with, the best that you can, walk away. I know it's not easy, and I feel like you just keep getting pulled in and pulled in and pulled in, but you have to be able to put your hand up and say, no, not right now, not today.
Okay.
So I don't know if that helps. But he did cross over. Listen, and if you've been following me for any amount of time, you know that I have never, in the thousands of messages I've come across, have ever had anybody, our physical body looks like it's suffering as it starts to shut down, but the rest of us, our spirit is always okay. we're actually more than happy to get out of our body that's hurting us or uncomfortable or not working anymore. He's showing me like up here a mustache. So I don't know if he had a mustache or, but he's showing me like, he wishes, like he's showing me Tom Selleck. I'm dating myself, but how he wishes that he could have grown a mustache like that. And it would be more like sparse or not as full. And he always wished that he could have had like that Tom Selleck kind of look, that handsome kind of look. And he's laughing about that. And he makes you laugh. But I feel like he's like, but I'm not so bad. And he's going like this and he's holding his chin. I was like, I'm not so bad. I'm like, not at all. But he really loves you, and don't be so hard on yourself. Oh, I just wish I could hug you.
I just wish I could say goodbye. It's just so hard.
Well, the thing about goodbyes is it's so hard because we don't have closure, right? But they hear us and they know we're there all the time. So there is never a goodbye. I used to end my radio shows, and if I ever get this podcast going, I'm going to end it the same way. It says, until next time. Until next time.
Where's the binder?
The binder, his binder of paperwork. It's underneath something. So you need to look underneath. I don't know what this means. There's like either books or a stack of papers or something, but it's underneath. You just have to look, you're looking on the surface and not deeper. And you have to look deeper and you're going to find it.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's somewhere where you might not think, but then you're going to find it and go, oh, why didn't I think to look here? So is it at his house? You guys not together?
No.
So it's at his house somewhere. Would he have given it to somebody who could have misplaced it?
Well, I have my own theories about where it is or what happened to it.
That someone took it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I just feel like okay, two things. So it could be underneath something for sure. And that's not a wrong thought. I mean, I can't accuse people. I don't, have facts, but it just feels like somebody has it or somebody took it. Like, that's what I'm saying. Somebody else had it. So hopefully you'll be able to find it. And are they being more malicious with it, or there's like some maliciousness there or something?
I feel like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they're not giving it to us because they're not listed in it.
I don't think you're far off. I think trust your gut, but it's all going to work out and come to fruition because it doesn't matter if they're listed or not. Like, it's somehow, some way that will surface and it will all work itself out. So don't get all worked up about it. I'm telling you, somehow, some way, it may not be the easiest way, but it will work out. And even if they're not listed and they don't have it, they'll have to give it to you.
Yeah, well, there's no way they can get anything if they're not listed.
Right. So either way, it's not worth getting upset over because it's going to work out.
Okay. I'm just trying to do my best to be the best mom, to keep my promise that I would take care of my daughter.
Well, you are a wonderful human being, he says. And I don't use the word wonderful, really. I know it's like, but he says you are a wonderful human being, and there's never any question about that. Again, he's going to keep saying you're being really mean to yourself and too hard on yourself. And you have to give yourself some leeway, and you have to give yourself a chance to catch up with yourself. I know you don't feel like you got to say goodbye, but who says goodbye anyways? Nobody ever says goodbye. Our body says, okay, bye, I'm out. But our spirit, I mean, I can't tell you how many messages and validations I give all the time for 20 plus years to people that spirit's still with them. They know what's going on. They understand. So do you have a tendency to burn things, or who has a tendency to let things cook too long?
I've done it before.
Okay. So he's talking about that, and he's kind of laughing at you, letting things just kind of go too long. And so he's kind of laughing about that. And I just got my oil changed today in my car, and he's showing me your foot on the pedal of your car. So I don't know what it is with your car, and you're like, either you press too hard or you have a heavy foot, or you're just going to have to do something with your car and make sure that it's taken care of. He's talking about that too.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, can I just see if he can tell me? I keep telling my daughter that he's still with her and that she just has to pay attention, that he'll send her signs.
He
And
will. What's your daughter's first name?
Angie,
Angie.
Angela,
Angie. Oh, I love Angie. Oh my God. She thinks you are so funny. You need to let yourself be who you are because you are so funny and you are so great. And now he's using the word delightful. Um, it's not when we talk about, like, I see heart shapes everywhere. I don't even know who they're from. I don't know if it's spirit. I don't know where they're coming from, but I see like signs like this everywhere, like just crazy signs. So the thing is it's about being in alignment and being open, but not expecting and looking for them. It's when we least expect things, everything shows up for us. I love music and lyrics. I get a lot of messages with music and lyrics, and I feel like he'll talk to her that way as well. How old is she? Is she in school?
she's 32.
Okay, she needs to be studying something or looking at something more or doing something a little bit more, focusing harder on whatever it is that she's, because I see her like looking down, looking down, looking down. And I feel like
Yeah,
she needs to look down
she's
more
in
and focus more.
she's in nurse practitioner school.
Oh, Oh, that's why. So she is in school. That's why.
Uh,
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Donna. So she tell her that he says to focus more, focus more. And the thing about your daughter, which is really cool, is that she gets downloads and messages without even knowing what she's getting. So she'll get a download, she's going to get a message, and things will just pop in her head. I mean, this happens to me where I'll be like, okay, you got to turn left. And I turn left. You have to turn right. Things happen all the times like this.
yeah,
So,
I was at her house on Thursday, and she's been journaling to her dad, and
oh,
she told me, Mom, she said, this morning I journaled to Dad, and I said, Daddy, if you're still with me, please send me a sign. And she said, we went to the park, we took the dogs to the park, and there was a gentleman there, and she was talking to him and asked him what his dog's name was. He said, Bruno. She goes, that's not a sign. That's not it. And she's looking around, and she says, maybe it's just not real. Maybe he's just not with me. Why does everybody else get signs and I don't? And then we ate some lunch, and we went to the bank, and they were trying to help us. We were trying to close out one of the accounts, and they were going back and forth and asking a bunch of questions because there was problems with the death certificate and just some crazy weird stuff that normally doesn't happen to people.
right. Of
And
course.
the lady was talking to another gentleman, and it was the manager, and she said, they told us what needed to happen or whatever, and she said, excuse me, what is your manager's name? And the lady said, Sunny. My daughter, I don't think she could have got out of that bank quick enough, went outside and had a total meltdown because her dad, her dad wrote a letter to her saying that he's her eternal sunshine.
Hello. So there's messages. That is the greatest story. Thank you for sharing that. See, this is why I love when people talking with people, well, we'll say publicly, right? Because it is so important that we understand that there is no goodbye. That couldn't have happened if he was gone, if you
I
needed to say goodbye.
I know. I told her.
I love this.
I
Thank
told
you.
her since the very first minute that we found out and we were at his house. I said, Dad's not gone. I
No.
said, you can't see him, but he's still with you. I said, please believe me. Oh, Mom, you're so dumb. Why do you believe in that bullshit? She said. And I said,
Because
it's not
Lisa J
bullshit.
said so.
I said, it's not bullshit.
Yeah.
I said, it's real. I said, but
Yeah.
it's only real if you believe and you're
Yeah.
open to it. If you're not open to it, it's not going to
Well,
happen.
it's going to happen. So I'm just
But
going to disagree.
she's
You're
not going
not
to
going to
know.
notice it even when it is happening because it's always happening. See, this is the way it works is we walk amongst spirits. We're like in their world. You know those Russian tea dolls? I wish I had some in
Oh,
my office. One with
one,
another.
two, yeah.
Yeah. So we're like there's one, you can't be without them. So when he's telling her, you look down, look down, look down, and writing and paying attention, no coincidence you're at the bank and you're writing and there's all that. So the problem is sometimes our grief and our heart, we're just not ready to hear messages. One of my biggest pet peeves that psychics and mediums say, and this happened to me when I was 18 and my grandmother died, and it really bummed me out. And I thought about it for a long time. I never want to be that person. But she said, your grandmother can't come through right now. Yeah, she's around, but she's studying. And to me, I'm thinking, what is she studying? Like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. And so if somebody says they're not around, it's not that they're not around. It's just sometimes we aren't ready to feel them because of our own grief. It's not that they're not ready to talk to us. So just keep that in mind and let her know he's always there and the messages will keep coming. Okay, Suzanne? Giving you a great big hug. Thank you for being brave and coming on and being so awesome. And I appreciate you so much. And it's so nice for me to see your face because I never get to see anybody.
Thank you. And thank you for everyone who's on the podcast right now for listening. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah. Once I get my real podcast, Healing Ourselves Together, going, that would be great. But in the meantime, I'm just going to do these lives when I'm not exhausted and I can, and I have time, because they're so important and everybody's hitting me up to do these. So even if this becomes my podcast and I'm not a traditional podcaster for right now, oh, well, at least I get to give you messages, and that's what it's really all about.
Thank you, Lisa. Love and light to you.
Much love to you and to your daughter. And I promise everything's going to go work out, and go for a walk and go outside.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.